extra, read all about it. Get your copies while they last. Stop the presses.
And now for something completely different.
Are you ready for a little truth? Are we not entertained? Wisdom is the proper use of knowledge and experience. There are no safe spaces here. The truth shall make you free. It's showtime! So you want the truth, but can you handle the truth? Well, here's another fine mess you've gotten us into. Now that's entertainment. Enlighten me a little. What you say is quite logical. And what did we learn? Prepare yourself for a little sensory overload. I came here for the truth. 7 years ago. Stand by to roll show intro. Roll show intro in 3, 2, 1, go.
This is the Craig L. Hayes Show.
Hello, America, friends, family, and listeners all around this world we call home. This is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I am Craig L. Hayes. Today's date is June 4th, 2024. We're already almost halfway through this year. Today's subject matter, and besides this, let me just say this is the first of the podcasts that I will be doing here. And I'm going to explain a little bit as we go along the purpose of this podcast, what we're going to be doing, how we're going to be encouraging people to participate, and my guest down the road. But for now, we're going to be doing some monologues. And I started thinking about what I wanted to do for the very first monologue. And all I could come up with was go back to our founding documents. And let's start with our Constitution. And let's start with the First Amendment, because it seems to be under assault like the Second Amendment, nonstop by the left. So let's start with that. I think we should start by reading it. There's 5 parts to the First Amendment to our Constitution. Let's start with the first part of it. And let's see. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. We'll stop right there and talk about that for just a minute. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion. Now, a lot of people think that means that we can't have anything religious in any public or government-owned building. We can't talk about religion. We can't talk about how God has given us this greatest land and the greatest country ever in the history of man. That's not what it means. Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment. All that really truly means is Congress cannot make the official language, not the official language, the official religion of America, whatever it may be, Christianity, Judaism, Islam, none of those, Buddhism, Hinduism, none of those. It is to stay neutral and out of the public arena of saying, here's our official religion. Why do we have that in there? Well, our founding fathers came from a time period where we had an official language from the king. I keep saying language. I don't know why I keep doing that. An official religion of a nation, the Church of England. We were not to have a Church of the United States, no matter what religion it was going to be. That's all. Would it surprise anybody to know that the founding fathers who put together the Constitution, ratified it, sat on there, debated it, actually lived in states that had, listen to this, that had official religions. Nothing stops the states from saying our official language, our official religion in the state of Virginia, say, is going to be Buddhism, or Utah, our official religion is going to be Mormonism, or whatever it may be in any state. There's nothing stopping it, the states, from doing such a thing. If that bothers you, then look it up. You'll find that the founding fathers actually had this happen in their states that they lived in, and they had no problem with it. If they didn't have any problem with it, why would we have a problem with it now? I do not recommend it. I do not recommend any way, shape, or form having an established religion in any state. That seems to be very exclusionary to other religions, to other people. So with that being said, let's move on to the next part. It's called or prohibiting the free exercise thereof. Oh, boy, we could go on there for a while. I just remember a couple years back with how brilliant our political leaders were in stopping people from going to church because of a simple cold or flu virus called COVID-19. Whatever you think of the virus, whatever you think of the precautions, whatever you think of the people who were in power and took advantage of this to infringe on your First Amendment rights, that's your personal thing. I'm stating here, plain and simple, it is a violation of your rights to say, oh, well, because there's a cold going around, you can't go to church. No, you can't do that. I don't care if it's the bubonic plague. I don't care what it is. If you make the choice as an adult and the head of your family, moms and dads, decide you want to go to church and possibly have your family, your children, or whatever, in church with you, and possibly get sick from a virus that's going around, that is your decision. That is your decision, freedom, and right to make that decision. Not a government agency, not especially ones that are so corrupt in Washington, D.C., telling the states what they can do. And now we're getting into a situation where we have the World Health Organization going to start telling everyone around the world, all governments, what they can and can't do in a pandemic. That's going to be something we can talk about later. It's a direct violation of your rights. The only thing that counts to me, as far as being in this nation, is your constitutional rights, your freedoms, your liberties. So, that's my opinion on that. We can all have a different perspective, view, or opinion on that. Okay, how about we move on to the next part of it, of the First Amendment, or establishing the, sorry about this, folks. Or abridging the freedom of speech. Abridging the freedom of speech. Why is that so important? Well, all we have to do is look around on how important speech is and how the government has interfered in the freedom of speech just over the last few years. Not including all the history of the world when they came down on people who disagreed with them, but let's just look at the last few years. People having the freedom of speech abridged or prohibiting them from saying something. Now, let's look at it this way. You can say whatever you want to say in a public venue. You can walk down the street cussing your head off, saying you think everyone is an idiot. You can say whatever you want to do. Threatening people is a different story. If you're threatening people, I think that's when we have to step in and say, you don't have the right to threaten somebody. But you can sit there and say, I am for this political party, or I am for this thing, candidate, etc., all day long. As long as you're doing it in a public forum or on your own private property. Your freedom of speech, the freedom to say what you want, ends on my private property. If I disagree with you, I can tell you, get off my private property. Go stand on the sidewalk and say it all you want, but get off my lawn. Old Clint Eastwood there. You do not have the right to tell people, say whatever you want to, whenever you want to. There are some limitations. You know, I like the old example. Can you yell fire in a crowded movie theater? I don't know why you would do that today. In the old days where film was acetate, a movie theater could go up in flames in no time at all. So I get that side of it. But other than being illegal or unlawful to say something or threaten somebody, you can say whatever you want. Supreme Court has upheld that many, many times. You can tell public officials exactly what you think in any kind of language you desire to say. You can tell any public official, including police, county commissioners, the mayor, the governor, the president of the United States, Congress, Senate. It doesn't matter. That's how it's supposed to be. I think you're ignorant if you're going to call them every name in the book. You should have a better mental process in your head that you can take and make your case. But that's up to you. The next part of this is, or freedom of the press, or of the press. Freedom of the press. We can hook this all up together in this first little two parts right now. Freedom of speech and of the press. Well, why is it so important to have a free press that actually reports the news, is not biased like almost all the bias that we see in the news today from all the major legacy media? All we see is their bias, pushing an agenda, pushing the one party side, pushing the Democrat Party side. Why? Why do they hide behind the freedom of the press and actually not do the job that guarantees the public discourse and information being given to the public? They hide the truth. They hide everything they can that makes their party look bad. They have become nothing more than propagandists for the Democrat Party. And the Democrat Party is nothing more than the modern day socialist, Marxist, Islamists, whatever you want to call them, party of the 21st century. With a constitutional guarantee that you can't be punished for saying what you want to believe or in the press, you also have a responsibility to tell the truth, the whole truth. And when you make a mistake, to make it known you made a mistake and here's the actual facts as you have found them. When government gets together with the press, with social media, with whatever, Google, on and on we go, YouTube, et cetera, where these are going to be broadcast on. Then you have a denial of the freedom of speech going on, and using the press as nothing more than a sounding board and a propaganda instrument. That is absolutely wrong. Our founding fathers would be appalled at that stuff. How about the right of the people to peacefully assemble and to petition the government of a redress of grievances? Petition and to meet and assemble peacefully. Do we have any problem with people getting together and walking down the street and making their viewpoints known to everybody? I do not. I do not have a problem with anybody walking down the street, even if they're totally in opposition to what I believe, except if they're violating the law, if they're threatening people, damaging things, or causing any kind of mayhem. Then their rights have to be stopped as far as their ability to go out there and do these things. But I will walk with you and uphold you and defend you if you disagree with me as long as you're doing it peacefully, as long as you're doing it intellectually, as long as you're doing it the proper ways and not threatening with violence or intimidation that other people must and they have to follow your belief system. I do not believe that at all. So, that is the First Amendment to the Constitution. I think it's a good one to get started here with and to get myself in the groove of learning how to talk on the radio and give a monologue. This is kind of interesting for me. I've spent my life doing other things behind an audio console or on a stage, helping performers do their job. So getting behind a microphone and actually talking and telling people what I'm thinking is kind of off the wall a little bit. If it sounds a little bit choppy and I've made a few mistakes, I beg your indulgence and to stick with me. I will get better because like anything else, the more you do it, the better you get at it. So with that being said, I think we've come to the conclusion of this first podcast, and I feel pretty good about it. I think I did a decent job, and I hope you agree with me, and I look forward to doing an even better job. So until the next one, and the next one will be about the Second Amendment to the Constitution. Ooh, that's a good one for people that want to have some controversy. And we are not afraid of controversy. There are no safe spaces here, but there also are no gotcha questions, and there's no way of it trying to intimidate my guests into believing what I believe. I want to listen to what people have to say. I want to be a part of the conversation. We need to talk more to one another. We need to listen more to one another, and we need to put our emotions in a bag and keep them out of it, even though we may feel like we're being abused in some ways. But anyways, this is the Craig L. Hayes Show, and I'm looking forward to doing this even more, and I hope to have many of you write into the Craig L. Hayes Show at gmail.com is the place you can send me opinions, etc. And I hope to see you on many of the platforms that are out there, Spotify, Rumble, let's see what else. We got Spotify, Rumble, and YouTube. So this is coming out on all three of those at the same time. So until then, we will talk to you later.